Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Outside the Box. Your hostess here, Kate of Gaia. And I'm not sure what I'm going to get into tonight. I haven't got a friggin' clue. Okay. Sorry, just going through different postings here, just to catch up with everybody. And I know where I want to start, and it's, of course, with extreme gratitude. I had a chance to have coffee with Vicky today, which is the highlight of my week. Had a chance to spend an hour or two with a friend and just kind of zone out and be in a neutral space, which is good. It's very good. Well, for me anyway. So thank you, Lambertus and Stola and Charisma Boo, Colleen, and I'm not sure who else yet. That's what I know so far. And of course, thanks to whoever sent the Mayan Oracle. I did draw a couple of cards from it as soon as I got back here. Interesting cards, to say the least. Emish and what was the other one? Oh, Realm Shift. I've got two others to check on as well, Center and Lamat, but I figured I'd leave those till after the show. And of course, moments of now and confirmations abound. So in as much as the different emotions we get to experience, the universe has a way of saying, hold on, just a little longer, just hold on. And so I do, oiled thread and all. Where did I want to go here? That's right, I wanted to, that didn't quite share. Yeah, I think we had a couple of CMEs yesterday or the day before, so there's been some funky stuff happening with the net, and of course, Chronal came through one of those, some interesting things. Quadrupole of May, 2010, May just passed. We touched on one a little bit last night. Going about it, I don't get a lot of time to try to be able to bring you guys something new for and because it's worth it. And in here, right? So it's right down to full voice another day. I think where did my mouse go? Oh, there it is. See, anywhere. All right, there we go. Just a few shout outs as well. Just kind of pace, and you know that I see you. Literally matching more than choose to be in it, and vice versa, right? In terms they don't shocked, and of course ego easily gets offended, and so that's due to a lack of understanding of what is really saying. If I don't matter in someone's universe, it's not a pity party victim role. It's just letting people know that a very literal allegory. For me to matter in someone's world, well, I would have to be, and vice versa, I would have to be invited into their experience. Until I'm in their experience or ejected from it, I don't matter. I don't materialize, literally. You know? And a lot of introspection, of course, when I get a chance to travel for an hour plus each way, so I get an opportunity to observe and eye-open meditation, basically. And the eye-closed meditation is not recommended for those traveling in cars and stuff. Can prove to be a little bit dangerous, so I don't recommend it. Yeah, subtle joke there. Just, shout-outs here. We got Al. Hey, Al. Good to see you. Thank you for your messages. Alberto, Gabriel, Use Cash. Use Cash, obviously another musician, is gigging this weekend. Oh, I'm so jealous. Anyway, up in the Scotland way. But I'm looking forward to a few interesting chats with this individual that most certainly has eyes to see. You all do. See, there's an ego thing too that really just drives me batty. It goes along the lines of this. I've used this analogy before. I'll use it again, and hopefully it sinks in this time, because ego always has a way of, judging and moving things around to its own liking, based on the experience of an individual observing versus stepping into the shoes of the individual speaking. Right? That's kind of backwards. As far as I'm concerned, anyway, it's backwards. I don't know your experience. I don't know what you've been through in your entire life. I would not even hazard to guess. I can, chat with you and find out a little bit about you, to see how we interact. But at the end of the day, there is no possible way for me to say I know your experience, that I know your life, and that I know your perspective. I don't. That's what I'm here to learn. And all too often, the ego has a tendency to assume things, because that's what egos do. Assumption and presumption. Welcome to the physical reality. And the ego assumes that the individual that they're interacting with knows their entire experience, which is something I will never assume. Sorry, I can't do that. Used to do it, and then of course it's always asking the question, why don't they get this? Why don't they understand this? Well, well, you don't have my experience, and vice versa. I don't have yours. And there's choices that I make, and they're made with a benevolent, this is how I work, guys, they're made with a benevolent caring for all and self. I'm going to do things that are beneficial to all and myself. Am I not part of the all? And some choices that we make are not necessarily the ones that are the most comfortable, but they're the ones that are most needed. In as much as I've used, I go back to the Judge Bows to Sovereign video, and how many people judged that scenario based on 2 minutes and 34 seconds of video. Every manner of ego expert came out of the woodwork on that one. But I'll tell you something, there's one thing that they don't know. They don't know what led up to it. They don't know what was given in. They don't know my life experience as to what I put in there as far as paperwork. And this is going back. This is all nonsense now, but this is going back on the early steps. They have no idea what I was thinking. They had no idea what I was experiencing, what I was feeling. They have no idea what perspective it was coming from. Obviously, there's a slightly different perspective as far as gender. That was the first clue. And how can anyone, unless they've walked this particular road, have a true inside track on it? To have a true understanding of what it's like to have a war of the roses going on inside you. To get to the point where you can finally balance those out. And then try to share that. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. And it's most certainly not easy to, explain the experiences I have, because we're going through these instantaneous moments of now, infinitely. Does anyone know what I experienced today? And can anyone judge me on it? And that's exactly what egos do. This is the lesson of judge not, lest you be judged. You see, ego has an automatic nature about it. This happens, therefore this must be the cause, based on its experience of interacting with countless beings that you and it have encountered. And it's still the defining and deciding factor in most people's lives. They're still making choices based on how they feel, based on how the ego sends the message. So here's another little way to locate and, shut that tricky little bastard up, or at least get it on a leash. Yeah, it's very difficult to bring to the table, things that I decide to do, and for what reasons I do them. But I will assure you, my reasons are of a benevolent nature, and they're made rationally, and they're well thought out. And given the fact that I'm dealing with a lot of people every day, I do my best to keep up with everyone. Somebody contacts me, I make the effort to contact them back. And many are still surprised that I do that. I don't know why. I said that I would. It might take a little bit of time. That applies to emails or Skype or Facebook or whatever the case may be. I will make an effort. In as much as, we're all perfect, some things working in the physical now, in the physical realms, require a bit of time and a bit of effort. But people always jump the gun. They always take things as their experience allows them to take them without actually bringing into consideration the other individual's choices and their experience and why they made them. These are very fundamental things for us. How many times have you jumped the gun on somebody only to find out that their motive was entirely the opposite of what you assumed it to be? I know with me, previously. This is why I know this, because I've observed it. I've observed me doing it. It used to be 10 times out of 10, because the only experience I had was that which I did have, and not having a full handle on what the tricky little bastard was all about, the program. You've heard me say this, use the tool, don't be the tool. And that applies to the ego as well. Yet, I still encounter situations where people will, with intense emotion, tell me that it's not the ego talking, that it's them. When I know different, because I don't hear and see as much as I feel. It's like when somebody writes me something, I can feel the intent before I formulate the spells. Because every push of a key or every twist of a pen is pure intent. That is the ether, you, manifesting in the physical through action, your intent. So it's like this. If you type out ASSHOLE and hit send, I'll know exactly which way to take it. Some people will go, asshole, and others will go, hey, asshole, how's it going? Same word, two entirely different intents. And that also applies to actions. Really, what is my intent? Can anyone decipher that? Well, if you can get inside my head, you can. If you can resonate with me, you can. But all too often, the countless myriad of things that are going through my mind, interacting with others, and of course, being misunderstood many times, I've lost count, and still to this day, there are There are very few that can try to assimilate another being's viewpoint. Resistance is futile. That which you resist is something that's going to persist. Those are the biggest walls we have to go through, those that we're resisting. Because we're the ones building them. I know that. I've built many in my day. It's time to, push on through to the other side, if you will. So what exactly is my intent when and if I do anything? Do you know? Or can you assume, based on direct knowledge of me, or based on direct knowledge of what your ego tells you think it is? And I will guarantee you every single fucking time, you will assume incorrectly. I know, I've seen it my whole life. 100%. And that's a given because you're not me, and I am you, and you are me, but you're not me from this perspective. You see, you have to be equal and opposite in everything. This is what balance is all about. This is what polarity is showing. In order to be infinitely happy, one must have felt infinite sadness. If one is to feel infinitely abundant, then one must have felt infinite lack. And it's entirely up to us where the center rung is there. And that's effectively what we're doing. We're choosing how high up the ladder or how down the ladder we go in order to find that center point, that equilibrium, that equator that Santa was talking about last night. And I didn't find it odd at all that standing, on the equator would render someone lighter. There's that word again, light, right? Light of your raw, your light of creation, God, whatever you want to call it. I really do weary of the labels and the dogmas and the stigmas attached to them, because ego, as I've seen it and witnessed it and felt it and experienced it, is all about program. And that program has been so well instilled in all of us, that it's a very difficult one to break. And the only time you can break it is when you're silent. Get into the peaceful zone, as it were. Get dark, get deep. Other tools that we have, and I've seen lots of people try to justify this and justify that, looking for answers. Like you're in therapy, for example. Just shut up and do it. Experience it. Turn the little chatterbox off that needs proof and validity and all the rest of the crap that goes along with ego. That's the analytical trying to outweigh the feeling. Your true self, your intuitive, your creative void, your womb of creation. And that applies to all genders. This is a magnetic electric universe. That is the fundamental basic. That is the War of the Roses. Which part of creation is going to manifest more or less than the other? And nature will always seek balance in the middle, equilibrium. But I assure you that equilibrium shifts. When we look around and see, things that are happening in other people's lives, be they great or pretty shitty, what we end up with is a fundamental viewpoint of what we would choose to do and what we would choose not to do. At least that's how I see it. Excuse me. And then, of course, that's going to be the perspective and your intent to be in whatever perspective you're in. It's not my choice, that's yours. And where I choose to be and where I choose to interact is my choice. I have my reasons. And my reasons, for the most part, remain mine because of the delicate egos that surround me. Yes, many listening have finally spotted their tricky little bastard. But it takes a bit of practice to wrestle it and bring it under your control. You see, because when the tricky little bastard, I like to refer to it as a three-headed dog, is always quick to attack. It's always quick to blame. It's always quick to exclude. It's always quick to judge based on its experience. And not all of us have the ability to keep that little bastard on a short leash. That's normal. That's actually fully acceptable to me, because I know what it is. And that tricky little bastard of anyone's that comes at me and starts gnawing away is, unfortunately, is biting right through and ramming its own jaw shut on itself. That I know. And that's okay. Listen, you can't really spot it until it actually does something, right? So that's why you can't offend me. Do you honestly think a TV set shouting at me is going to bother me? Because that's all it is. It's a TV set. And there was a beautiful post on Facebook the other day, I think it was either today or yesterday, regarding, sometimes, people are like TV sets. You got to slap them a few times, just to get the picture to come in, right? And that's the old style TVs. The rabbit ears, the good old days, as it were. Oh, hello, Rezu. How are you? I just, here we go. Let me just bring this up. I'm going to go over to the room and let's see. Oh, yeah. Consciousness. Gotta love that. Hello, Nav John, Lambertus. Let me see who else we got in here. Well, there's a BC number. All right, no, it's not BC, actually. Who else we got? Hello, Carol. Hello, Mim. Hello, Ninja. And I think that might be Billy. Who knows? Just trying to go off memory here. Yeah, you know what, Rezu, we'll have a chat on that one. What you're dealing with there is an overly aggressive Sarah's three-headed dog in the other individual. Easiest way to deal with it: feed it whatever it wants. That's the part about letting go, and it's not easy. Oh, hey, and there's Susanna Cat on the beach in Greece. Well, actually, what time is it? Oh, it might not be on the beach now. It might be in the pub or something. And hello, I did say hi to Alberto. All right, so I'll head over to my page, and I know that Otis is in the room. Always good to know you're there, my friend. And then I'll head over to Skype. Give me a minute. I want you all to know that I see you at the table, and that does warm the heart. Where are we here? Okay. And Manny, how are you? Catlin, Sean, and where are we? Let's go down here. See, I do multiple posts, so I can never get to all of them fast enough. Shahida, how are you? Loving your posts lately, hon. Great stuff. Ellie, how are you? It's she, by the way. My name's Kate. I'm transgender, two-spirit. Yeah, voices lower than boobs would indicate, kind of thing. That's how I like to put it. Well, I wish you'd hang out. All right, and Brian, love the post, the book of He Lie. I love it. That's beautiful. All right, skipping over to Skype here. And feel free, guys. Saturday night is kind of, zone time. Love to have you guys come in and say hi. And there's Ruth. Hello, Ruth. And no problem. 'Tis the nature of my being. I will do that anytime. I kind of do good as as an in-between. And hello, Michelle. I'm going to add you to the room. And here we go. New contact in. There you are. And Gaia Ship, how are you? Maud. And see who else is in the room. And Stola, love you. Consuela, love you. Love you all. You know that. Yeah. So for any new people coming in tonight, we kind of do this in real time, and we never know what's going to happen. It's always glad to hear you listening, Ruth. Anytime. So we like to do things in real time. People have asked me in the past, do I plan any of these? No, not at all. Why would I plan something? Because that takes you out of your now moment. That takes you out of the experiential now. What I would suggest, this for Ali especially, go to my webpage, kateofgaia.wordpress.com, and you'll get a fundamental understanding of what we're about at this table, and lots of essays there, lots of previous shows, and I do like to hand out the truth disclaimer. Please be advised that any truth that you discover and resonate with belongs to you, and you are fully responsible for it. Therefore, you have a choice of being willfully knowledgeable and standing in it, or willfully ignorant and denying it. Then you'll understand what a catch-22 is all about, from both the physical and the spiritual aspect. That one I cover in Raining Cats and Dogs Part 3. But I urge everyone, someone had, I have to go back down and check it out, someone had mentioned about, what should they read first. And I have said, just whatever. The kateofgaia.wordpress.com site is a very Spartan for a reason site. The only thing that is there are the only things that I deem relevant. I've done the walks through all of the legal and religiocosis bullshit. And what you're going to be dealing with on that site is things written in the now, and I've got things coming up. And I assure you, while it might not sink in on first pass, there is much experience and inner soul searching for me, contained in that. And what I share each and every night is a reflection of the experience that I've had, and of course interacting with others, because that is my experience. I am the net sum total of you. My experience is based on the interactions with everything I've had to deal with in my life. People, experiences, whatever, school, church, you name it. I am the sum total of all those experiences. And it's my job to sort through that and decide which I am going to keep and which I'm going to not keep. I have two fundamental questions, again, for the new people that are, the new tuned in ones. I have two questions that I deal with. The only two I ever deal with. Is that something I would do or something I would not do? And those questions are based upon the golden rule. That which I wish upon others, I have wished upon myself. In short, what you sow, so shall you reap. And you will always see the mirror opposite in this realm. You see, the physical realm is the mirror image and shadow reflection of creation itself, as above, so below. I would urge to get a fuller perspective on a lot of the things that I speak of, and they're online. I'm not sure if they might even have a copy of it on my blog page, but the Kabbalion. And I have looked at that from both good and evil perspective, because there is good and evil contained in everything. In order for anything to exist, it must have its equal and opposite. That goes back to, deciphering the language, or the tongue pledge, langage, or the death pledge, the mort gage. My favorite line. What did you think mort gage meant anyway? It's a death pledge. That's why you pledge no allegiance to anything, especially smelly, shitty little flags that will insist that you go and fight and murder other beings on the planet so that someone else can profit and make lots of money from it. The one thing that resonates out of the Kybalion is those that have the knowledge to know better and do not do so, a terrible fate awaits them, either in the here and now or the here and after, in this infinite walk, this infinite experience of ourself on this infinite journey without destination. There are ports of call, to be sure, but you don't tarry on those ports of call for too long. We can call them instances in our life or entire lifetimes. They are all but a blink or a twinkle of the eye in existence, infinite existence. And yet I see so many take their port of call it here on Earth, Gaia, so very seriously. All the world is a stage. And while we're busy observing all the other actors, we never fully take the time to look at ourselves within to decide, what is our role? What's my purpose in this play? Am I just one of the extras that gets thrown in on the stage just to fill space? Am I a background Walmart consumerian shopper? Or am I, getting into my first talking roles? Or am I a, supporting actor, actress? Or are we taking on a lead role here, where we fundamentally are heading towards director, cause over our own show? That's why there's many actors. Lead, supporting, extras, background, not even, crowd, like not even aware that they're in a movie. But there's only one director. Unless, of course, a couple get together, but typically there's only one director. Another mirror or mimic of the universe, as it were. Right? So you can choose to be an actor, or you can, choose to be a complete effect to this realm. And love you too, Guy. Love it. And Grasshopper, how are you? Is Andy? Oh, you guys are showing up. Good. Nice to have you at the table. Something else too for this Saturday night. So it's pretty loose. I don't get too heavy on Saturday nights. Not anymore, anyway. We had enough of those. Excuse me. And typically, just for any new listeners, guests. Well, you're the guest, right? You see, I've done so many interviews and people and what have you. It's like last night. Every Friday night we have Santa Menacci. I love just sitting, on the air with Santa, and we cover a lot of really neat things from a couple of different perspectives. And we had Tobias Lars in there a couple of weeks ago, and one of the most beautiful, I can't even call it an interview, it was like sitting down with a friend I hadn't seen in a while and just playing catch-up. See, that to me is exactly how this should work. Because whether we're talking about, some distraction, call it fear porn. Oh, and by the way, I have a new one for you. When you're dealing, having a chat last night after the show with Nav and Ninja, and Nav made a beautiful observation. I want to get Nav and Ninja in tonight because we were going to pick up where we left off. So, it's so very difficult to find grown-ups in this game, because fundamentally what we have are a bunch of children, older children, and you know this for yourself. I look in my own mirror and say, stop being such a child about this. right? And so here's a new term, and it involves all manner of adult drama. The things that the reruns, the stuff we keep doing over and over, interacting with other people and end up getting our face slapped or, what have you. I'm calling that kiddie fear porn. Okay? That's the drama, and that's talking about the same things over and over again, stuck on the same channel, interacting with others, and expecting somehow a different script. If you've heard the script before, when you're dealing with someone, especially someone have known for a long time, whatever the case may be, doesn't matter, friends, acquaintances, family, associates at work, whatever the case, doesn't really matter. But if you find yourself dealing with the same issues and, always in the same conversations, well, that's a rerun. And for me, I just get tired of the reruns is all. I want to watch new shows. And the only way you can do that is to change your own channel, Don't expect someone to come over and change your channel for you. That's a trespass and free will choice. That ain't going to happen. And if it does, I tell you, you're going to end up back at the same channel because it's going to create a drama back and forth, basically a pissing contest. It's like I used to laugh, I still do. Anytime I see these marks that people graffiti spray paint, these symbols or whatever, I equate that to, like gangs and stuff, they do that all the time. I equate that to a pissing contest. It's just dogs pissing and marking their territory. Yeah, great. I'm glad you had to do your little symbol, piss your little mark on the side of a post box or, a store wall or something to that effect. Yeah. You got to stop and make you. We're good. We're back on. Good. Yeah, the CMEs definitely are going to be running a little interference right now, so I'll do my best and hopefully break up too much. Andy, I'm gonna say exactly what you wrote from my perspective. You ready? I'm searching and seeking. I haven't got all the answers. You see? Reality is most certainly a harsh master mistress, and it is absolutely humorous because when you stop and stand back and really take a look at yourself and the situations you've been in, and how upset you get or how you've reacted to other individuals, and how many times you do it, Einstein said it clearly. I never actually mention that it is Einstein, but Einstein said this. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is insanity. Best stop doing it. I add the last part. Best stop doing that. If you decided to keep walking across broken glass with bare feet, and you get to the other side every time and your feet are bleeding, how many times do you think you're going to do that? Well, that's the same thing when you're interacting with other people. So what I'm going to do, looks like we have Stola here, so I will open up Stola's line, and let's get this table talk going. I've nattered enough, I think. Stola, how are you?
Oh, hello, Kate. I'm fine. Couldn't think of a better way to spend a Saturday night evening.
I was going to say, or morning, Sunday morning for you.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's on your mind?
Oh, nothing special. I woke up very early this morning. Maybe because of the CMEs, because 2 cars were standing on the outside, beeping in the alarms, and I was so tired going out with the key because one of them is flat on the battery. It's been that for a month. So I was going out to try and stop it. I thought it was that car, but it was the one that was flat on the battery. So that was very strange. And there was a key finder lying on the porch there. It was beeping too, of course, from the alarms. And I had to open the lid and cut the wire to the horn on the alarm.
Wow.
And, yeah. So going back in again, I went up to the room and I was taking the guitar and I was doing trying to do the tabs to a Johnny Cash tune, Solitary Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then suddenly in the room I heard something I never heard before. It was my telephone going out of battery, and it was right in those those frets I was doing on the guitar. So I thought, wow, and I never heard it go out before. So that was very strange, and I didn't understand it at once. So I thought I was changed dimension or something.
Well, I was going to say that's the thing is when you have the eyes to see and ears to hear, you start noticing things that you wouldn't normally notice before. One of the prevailing thoughts that I had when I was traveling out today was looking at other people on the highway and just that. For me, it's a blurred reality. It's like you ask yourself the question, could I ever go back to that? And the only answer I have is not a chance.
No way.
Yeah, and you really do get the sense of separation, and that's part of it too, right? In order to find unity, you must find separation, and that applies to all levels, all the way up and down the ladder. And just traveling along, and you see people driving their work trucks and transports and just people heading to do whatever people do all day, and full well, just based on the energy of these beings around you, that they're completely encapsulated in the physical realm. I haven't got a clue of what's really going on, and it's not a make wrong here. It's not. It's an observation. I don't judge that. Do I see anything wrong with it? No. Here's my question: is that something I would do anymore? No. That's something I would not do anymore. And 'tis the trouble with tribbles, or the trouble with truth, as it were. Once you find it, that's it. It's yours. That's if we want to talk about life in terms of a game level. Once you've achieved that particular item in your video game arsenal to move you forward, be it a sword or a shield, right, armor or defense or attack, right, and I use these as allegories, not as literals. Once you have those, you can never lose them. You can choose to not wield them. But that's the thing about the video game. When you're at that level, that sword and shield, that new upgrade that you just got, is exactly what you're going to need for the next, bad guy in the video game, right? The next challenge. So if you don't pick up the sword and the shield that you just got and stand with them, that character, this is an allegory, that character that you're going to soon confront is going to slaughter you. Because only with that particular armor and ability to move forward in an attack, and I'm please take these terms lightly, guys. I'm trying to give an analogy here. This is not a literal. I do like my intense allegories. They work better for me. But if you're not willing to wield that sword and hold that armor, that next level that you will invariably, guaranteed, you will confront trying to use your previous weapon and armor, which cannot withstand that which you're going to confront. You will get slaughtered every time. It's how the nature of the game truly is. We only develop those levels of armor and attack for the specific purpose of moving forward. I mean, there's no point having the super laser cannon if you're not going to use it, because the challenge that's coming to you, by choice, you chose it, is going to have a super duper cannon blaster, right? So this is why it is imperative, and I give the disclaimer: if you cannot handle the truth, and this is where I will not trespass on your free will choice, where anything I share may harm you because you realize it and refuse to stand in it, then I urge people, anyone tuned in that is unwilling to stand in their own truth, to stop listening now. Go tune into some other rerun, because this isn't a rerun here. This is an in the now. Let's get her done, step by step by baby step, push through this bullshit reality that we're in. And we are most certainly winning. There's no question. So there's a lot of responsibility with truth. It is an infinite responsibility. A truth learned is earned. It's yours, whether you choose to use it. And I'll tell you, the physical universe will throw things at you, because if you're trying to win the spiritual game, the apparent effect is to lose the physical. It's a matter of choosing a physical meat stick reality, lifetime after lifetime, looking forward to body drop after body drop, or to push past that and say, no, there's something bigger here. And I'm kind of looking forward to Harry Potterville. I'm kind of looking forward to a lot of things that I can create in terms of realm shifts, pole shifts, what have you. Yeah, so be mindful. If you can't handle, if you can't handle this heat, don't sit at this fire. Because I assure you, there will be information that we bring to this table that is harmful to your physical health. And I'm really happy to say that, because I'm not interested in your physical. I'm interested only in your infinite. And when we master those things within ourselves, this is where we put them into balance, where the physical is the true effect over your spiritual cause. And that's where manifestation starts to take hold. You see, we've been in effect for too long by someone else's spiritual intent, and this is by design. We cannot grow spiritually unless we are challenged physically. The old, if it doesn't kill you, it'll cure you, or make or break you. So we have to decide whether or not we're going to be a stick of bamboo growing in a hurricane, or a mighty oak. Choice is yours. So I'm going to actually open up Ninja's line and Nav's as well, because we're almost at the top of the hour, and let's go deep, guys. Let's blow this one out of the water, shall we? All right, both your lines are open. Oops. Yeah,
okay.
There you are. Yeah, I was making sure I got you there. Sorry. Yeah, how are you?
You did. I had trouble finding my mute button.
Yeah, there's a good allegory there. I know a lot of people that can't find their real life mute button. And actually, some of them have their mute button stuck on mute, right? Isn't that funny?
Oh,
anyway.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got nothing to say. I don't know why you opened, but I didn't have my hand up. What are you trying to do to me?
Well, no, I was the conversation that you, Nav, and I were having last night. I wanted to bring that to the table, so it's time for Nav to...
hello, Nav, come on.
Okay,
I got my mic. I had to put my headset on, so I'm all set now.
There you go. So where do you want to go?
The hell off this planet.
Well, that makes all of us, but okay. Well, actually, I'd just as soon correct it and move up the level here, right?
Okay, that's fair.
There's nothing wrong with this beautiful creation. It's what I see is a terrible abuse of creation itself. There are individuals, entities that have taken it upon themselves, of course, to be the great challenge, and that's how I'm looking at it. So I'm not going to look at them with hatred or animosity or anything of that like. I'm just simply going to look at it and say, well, no, that's not, something that at this point of the game I would do. But chances are, intuitively, we become the net result of all the things that we have actually inflicted and been a part of through infinite countless scenarios in infinite countless realms, be it physical or otherwise. So this is the never-ending story, and we just so happen to be in a consciousness that is in one particular realm and trying to figure it out. Hell of a game level, eh?
Very intense.
Well, I tell you, Earth is not for the weak. It's certainly not for the weak of heart or the weak of spirit. And I can only imagine how many lifetimes I've had the literal shit beaten out of me, and vice versa, to get to where I am right now. And am I grateful? Oh, you're damn right. Because I've often said the intensity that someone will hate you is the mirror of the intensity of the love they have, or had. I don't like using past tense because it's only now. It's a mirror reflection. So I got the armor on. A few arrows get through on occasion. There are chinks in my armor, and somehow people seem to know where the weak points are, and send a nice barbed triple point non-healing wounding arrow right into you, at which point you have to go get seek help from others, other parts of ourselves, right? So that was by the way, that was the underlying theme of the Mayan oracle cards that I drew just before the show, and that it was amazing how it resonated. Isn't that neat how universe works? It tells you exactly what you need to see in the now once you have your eyes on and your ears on, more importantly. So anyway, where did we leave off last night that we wanted to cover? I'm racking my brain right now because we got into some pretty neat stuff.
Well, so much was said, and it was very late, and certain people were very tired.
Oh, yeah. Weren't we?
Do you mean me?
Maybe.
Oh, you recognize that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was so tired, I don't even know what you were talking about. You'll have to remind me.
Well, I think that what we were talking about is kind of lost in my mind because I'm so overwhelmed by that procedure that Kate mentioned about the pressure on your eyes. What an amazing experience. If you've never done that before, it's just an incredible... As a matter of fact, I did it again today. I like it.
For those that want in the know, it was something I twigged on when I was a kid, getting out of the bath or the shower, whatever the case might be, and, I dry my hair and, of course, dry my face, and then a little bit, too much pressure on the eyes, like trying to rub them, and the next thing you know is all this glorious light shows up, and I'm thinking, hey, that's kind of cool. And if you want to get a glimpse of you and the comet that you are, that beautiful infinite, and you can steer it, by the way. Have you tried that one yet?
No.
Okay, well.
How do you steer it?
Well, you intend it and watch it shift directions. All you got to do is intend it. You don't look for it, you intend it. And you watch this go left and goes right, goes left and up and down and all over. Your central sun, basically. So here's the theory behind it this is my theory on it anyway. You see, in the DNA design, everything has its place mathematically, perfectly. Right? The body was built a certain way, with everything in certain ratios and aspects in accordance with the rest of itself. And then I got to thinking, this was a while back. I got to thinking, well, isn't that interesting in that your eyes are placed in the sockets, and they don't typically move from there. Except, well, you move your eyes, of course, looking around and whatever, blink, 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 and what have you. But they don't ever move out of that phi ratio. So what you're doing is actually disrupting the math. So when you take your eyes, because they're closed, make sure they're closed, You got clean hands, be a good idea. I like to use the palm, the heel of my hand, versus fingertips, because fingertips have a tendency to, put pressure points on. So the idea is to just gently take your eyes out of their location in the sockets. So for me, the theory is you've disrupted the phi ratio of the body construct, the DNA construct, and watch what happens. It's pretty cool. Right now, I'm sure there's a few people right now trying this, and look for your light. I'm
trying it now.
Yeah?
I can't see anymore. I've opened my eyes.
Yeah.
So when I did it, I did use my fingertips, but I was concentrating on how much pressure I was putting, and then finally it just blanked out, and then the light appeared, and then it started to move. And I felt like I was, on a starship. Ring.
Yeah, just traveling through the universe.
Yes.
Right? That'll give you your arc, right? That's what I'm saying. When you intend the steering of it, you're changing the direction of your arc, right? It's never a straight line. And it looks, mine, I got to see a really good look at it the other day, is a dragonfly, right? And you've got all this beautiful energy. It's like it's racing through the universe. And it's like you're watching the tail of this comet, or this dragonfly in my case. And, before I give this one away, what colors do you see?
It wasn't white. It was off-white, and there were speckles in it. And
what color were the speckles?
Don't remember.
Okay.
They weren't red or anything like that really stood out. There were probably hints of blue, maybe. I have to do it again, and I'll be conscious of it now.
Okay. Isn't it funny how I knew what you were saying?
Oh yeah, my eyes are your eyes.
Right, but
your eyes are my eyes.
But isn't it interesting that I asked you what color, and I wanted to hear it from you, your dots? It's like speckles.
Yes, they were dots. Today, I saw geometric square patterns and squares. But I wasn't in the right mind frame. When I did it today, I wasn't relaxed sitting on the couch like I was last night. I was just sitting in the chair, and I decided to just try it. And I just got overwhelmed with light. I didn't see a pattern, except for the geometry that I saw in the light. It was just a flash of light this time.
Well, when you practice on it a bit, and I don't want to give any of this away, I need people to see it for themselves. Maybe in a show or two I'll start describing a few things. So don't anybody say anything to me as to what shapes and whatever. The one thing I did want to share is, once you see your comet, Cloud Atlas, Gravity Falls, Mabel Sweatshirt, Comet I, Sun coming in. I don't want to give it away because there's my specs, their orbs, are checked again today, are indigo, and it's quite something. There's something that, and you have to see it for yourself, and I'm not going to give it away, and we'll talk about it in another show or two as to what will materialize. You will get symbols, geometrical shapes and symbols, and the ones that I had today were quite interesting, quite intricate, and it's an opportunity to throw your phi ratio out, and then you'll get an idea as to what you really are. You're this beautiful, beautiful light. The dragonfly mine is just a iridescent, shimmering gold. It's like these beautiful golden flames trailing off behind it. It's just, it's stunning. So get a look at yourself, seriously.
Could that possibly be what you intended to see?
No, see, the thing is I blank out, right? I do not go into it looking to find anything. I'm there to see me. Like no one was more surprised than me 4 days ago when I finally saw the dragonfly. It's like, wow. I wasn't intending to see anything. And then, of course, Bindi, she had mentioned that she had, I believe was the bee, and another one had mentioned about butterfly. And I had a chat with Vicky today. I actually walked her through it, and she had this beautiful silver light, and she had essences of red dots. And it's not only fascinating to the degree that this is something you can do without tripping out to get a glimpse of you, and to get quiet, get deep. Because here's the other thing about it too: when you're actually just looking, you're neutral. There's no thought. You automatically enter a state of meditation. Oh, and I do recommend placing your tongue on the roof of your mouth. It bypasses the reptilian brainstem and connects all chakras. Right. So I'm trying to share things that people can look at for themselves and go ooh and ah at themselves. Right. Instead of looking out in this bullshit scenario, like ooh and on at fear porn and all the rest of the drama, kitty fear porn and all the rest of it. I prefer truth porn. Let's rubberneck that for a change, shall we?
The tongue on the roof of the mouth seems to work for me when I get angry. If there's something I'm starting to think about and I don't want to think about it, instead of saying to myself anymore, stop thinking about that, I just do that and it seems to just pass. Yeah,
you've bypassed the reptilian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the cerebellum. By the way, it's not a coincidence that 9mm rounds are typically called parabellum, right? So bellum means war, right? Bell, words with bell in it mean war. Might give you the idea of what the Liberty Bell is all about. Isn't it ironic that I'm from Belfast, to starve the war? That's why there was the troubles there, right? To keep it hidden, to keep that peaceful spell, Belfast, to starve the war, eating. And the sooner the people allow that city to live up to its name, the better. And the only thing that has to be removed is Rome and London. Rah-rah the Pope, rah-rah the Queen. Two forces of the Trinity with Washington direct current involved. The Triple Crown, as it were. Also interesting that King Arthur's crest is the same as the Swedish flag. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Anyone want to jump in on that one?
No, actually not. But I just tried. I tried earlier today with my fingertips and sitting in the walk-in to closet, and so I just got tired and I went to bed. But I tried now with my palms, and I saw it was kind of blue dots around, and I saw a whirl or a vortex, kind of lower resolution, but it had all the colors in dots, and I think I would try to jump into it if if I wasn't here, if I was in that closet or something. Yeah,
it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So
yeah, you are. I keep telling people that. I keep telling people how beautiful they are, and now I've got a really neat way to show them. Have a look at you. Look how stunningly perfect you are. Your energy, your light. And the only way you're going to find it is to get deep and get dark. Of course, throw your phi ratio of the meat stick out of balance. And you don't have to use anything other than your hands. And This is to make sure all things are fair. Those without hands, just ask someone else to do it. Isn't that neat? Yeah, it's for me. It's about throwing things out of balance to find their center, right? And look what's happened to us. We've all been thrown so far off center and our balance with this magnetic electric war of the roses, masculine and feminine, right? Feminine, masculine, and nature always wants to bring it. Natural law, universal law, cosmic law wants to bring everything into balance, and the only thing that throws it out of balance are the intentions to do so, and that falls squarely upon our proverbial shoulders. How much conflict we see in this world is directly related to our intent and our perspective and how we approach things. And when we have our, the situations where we are constantly in conflict with others around us, and whatever programs are running, the Savior program, looking outside of yourself, the pedestal program, because if people aren't building pedestals for me, they're building them for themselves. And I guarantee you, especially with me and a chainsaw, either the one that someone's going to try to build under me is going to get chainsawed, or the one they're trying to build under them. Right? You see, with me, I'm neutral. I have a choice to be with all. Yet so very few get that concept. And I've had it happen so many times in my life. And I finally, I'm accepting of it, that at whatever point, it doesn't matter. Someone's always going to want to, try to claim a piece of me. That's pedestaling. Why not, why would anyone want to take the gold when I'm trying to give it? Right? You can steal her gold, but she'll give it willingly. Right? And it also brings into view the ego program. Because when we feel a need to either build somebody up, to tear them down, to make ourselves feel stronger, or if we need to feel special because we're connected with someone, I used to see that a lot. I call that starstruck in the music game, where people associated with me typically wanted to be associated with me because they could meet so and so and then be and ooh, and I'm going, hey, how's it going?
Usury.
Yeah, usury. That's exactly what it is. Coattails.
Hey, Kate?
Yeah.
Stuart?
You mentioned the pedestals, and I remembered that little thing that I wrote about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Oh, sure.
I wondered if people might like to hear it.
Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to share.
It's not very long, so I can read it out.
Okay. I'm going to open up Lambertus's line here, but go ahead, okay? I just want to make sure he knows that his line is open.
Okay, so this came to me, and I just wrote it out real quick, and maybe it still needs some editing, but anyway, I shall share it. Pedestals. Those marbled heights in the minds of the ones determined to place those of us who would rather sit on the sandy beach by the toes of the cliff, not climbing except in our hearts, to reach our own true selves. Those pedestals are cold, hard perches of precarious nature, and the inevitable fall only too imminent to our awareness. We crave no lofty elevations, no glorified niches carved of granite, envy and adoration. Smash it, smash that ignoble ornamental rest with the wrecking ball of honor for who you are, for your own dear self, and use the dusty rubble as the foundations hold for our friendship's new home. So come inside and join us who share our souls. Or do you shun your seat at the table of our lives? Beside us there are many empty placeholders at an ever-expanding board, all laid out in abundance with nature's bounty. Will you join us and take your seat at last? We are one, yet unique, like the many-faceted, silvery grey sparkles on the sea. Let us dance now together in love. That's it.
That was beautiful.
I'm just letting it sink in. It's things like that I like to just let, like a good wine, breathe. Good truth, wine, truth, water into wine. So eloquently put. And this is the fundamental part of an ego program. The one thing that's going to keep you swinging out of balance. And call it an inner yearning, an outer need, whatever the case may be, is irrelevant. It's still the same fundamental truth. In that we look outside of ourselves to others to either make us feel good about who and what we are, or to give us a reason to make them less in order to improve our situation. That, for me, is the pendulum swinging back and forth, the ebb and flow, and the war that everyone has with everyone else. When people finally realize that we are all one, just merely different perspectives of the same consciousness, when you finally click on that notion, you'll understand that I am you and you are me, and we are all one. We are all connected to the infinite source of one, experiencing itself from different perspectives. So it would be much akin to you saying, I'm better than me. Really? Seriously? You're fucking kidding me, right? I'm better than me. Really? Well, no, I'm better than me. Have that argument for a while, see how that sits in your belly. And because that's exactly what's going on. When we reach out from our own perspective to another, either embellishing or demonizing another part of ourself, what are we actually doing? What are we saying to ourselves? This is where the term unconditional comes into play. It does not allow for that. That's the open sea. That's the open sea we need to sail on. The sea, the note of love, unconditional. That it must be open to all things, all experiences, all wonderments, all sorrows, everything. For me, this is what the masters were trying to teach us. When they finally reached their center point and got as frustrated as so many of us, when we find, this is a constant daily thing of staying in that center point and keeping a steady keel and tiller, make sure, right? And we're not like the rest, flowing like dead fish. I loved that last night. Thanks. I can't remember who shared that, but only dead fish go with the flow. What we're doing, we are the salmon racing upstream to spawn, to give new life to the river of truth. And there's nothing going to stop us. Nothing going to get in our way, because we know that is where we must go. Look at nature. The salmon, they're not given a GPS coordinate. They're not given compasses and maps. But they inherently know where they came from, and they go back to the exact same spawning ground they left years before they headed into the open ocean. And of course, by leaving the salt water, coming back into the fresh, their lives are shortened. And that is the salmon that we are. That we know that creation fundamentally must take precedence, because we are in that river. And the only way we're going to increase the spawning is to face the upstream swim. And we'll be faced with bears and all manner of predators. We'll be faced with exhaustion. We'll be faced with so many things. But we always get there. For the new salmon to come downstream. And we are the new salmon. We're only respawning ourselves. recreating ourselves in our own image versus the image of the illusion here, the grand illusion. Your TV, radio, and magazines that tell you what they want you to think you need to be. Have a listen to the song by Styx, The Grand Illusion, with your new ears and new eyes. So saith the trumpeting swan. Yeah, isn't it funny how that always just seems to happen, eh? It's just a coincidence. Yeah, so... there we go. So I would, like Ninja was saying, I would rather sit on the beach, on a very level beach, where there are no trains, on a level beach where I'm sitting beside you, and you're sitting beside me. I love the analogy of Arthur's round table. And why is it round? Well, it's so that no one can be deemed master over another, that all sit equally, no head of the table. That we all sit around this table equally, sharing equally, without giving pedestals. Because when you look at Arthur and the Legend of Arthur and the knights, each one, Arthur included, had their own role to play, where none was deemed greater than another. And you can call it, Arthur was king. He may have carried the title, but he most certainly didn't carry the ego. And that's the lesson. A true king and a true queen serve. They don't rule. The king and the queen, equally, as one, becomes the benevolent servant. I'll wait. I'm just waiting. This is crazy, eh? So I must be onto something here. That's more than I'm used to hearing. But you must become the servant. And I don't mean the slave. I've had many people enter my life as the servant of servants, expecting me to be their slave. And I have nothing but pity for those that do that. And Mim's jumping in here too. Mini download over, but Ninja, so eloquently put. Loved it. Actually, if you could, I'd like you to put that into a document and throw it on the kateofgaia.wordpress.com site. Would you? Please?
Yes, I will, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that was beyond profound.
I was thinking about all those sitting passive. I'm not claiming to know Greek, but pass in Greek means everything. And you have Eve. Don't know, could that be like divine feminine? And it's I did some notes, and it's very messy on this sheet of paper. And but let me see. Oh, I just can't get how to say it. But obviously they bypassed all the divine feminine noted here, and it came from a tarot book that I opened today. I just opened it, and it was on the page of the devil, card 15. That's for Capricorn. And in Norwegian that is Steinbukken. And and I have to work a bit more on this. So, but Panic, Pan, the Greek god, I suppose, Pan, coming from Greek pas, means everything. So we have passive, all Eve. I don't know if, because I know one word in Greek now. Maybe you could elaborate a little on that.
Well, I'm not really familiar with that one, but yeah. What this is one of the things that I really enjoy is watching and listening to others just taking, and it's as simple as this, just taking a second look at the words, regardless of the language. It's really irrelevant. It all comes into play here, and thank you. It's just nice to see, because I remember back when I started on my little busting words apart, and it goes back to the early days of Jordan Maxwell and the correlations of the words that they use in legalese and what have you. I just decided to take that torch up. I mean, that's linguistics are kind of my thing, and go with it. As I said last night, I'm just coincidentally fortunate in the different words in different languages that I have come across, and they just kind of stuck with me, and how pivotal they were in exposing the words right down to the very sigil meaning of each letter, sigil, number, and how critically important it is. I had a day full of 7, 11, and 13, of course, and 15.
There was also at the bottom I noted because puck, P-U-C-K, means nature spirit, and you know what they do with it in ice hockey, for instance. I was thinking, and smashing it around. It seems
That's
like
interesting.
Allegory.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I find it interesting. A lot of the things, all things for a reason. Can you see the reason? And that's the world stage. And for anyone that's been listening for any length of time, I know that you're seeing the world stage from slightly different eyes, slightly different perspective, and you're starting to see the magic of creation. That's Harry Potterville to me. When you start seeing the magic. And every time you see it, it strengthens that little doubt thing that has been, this doubt seed that was planted within us, where we doubt our own fire and our own divine feminine. And regardless of the gender that you have, that you're walking around in, is irrelevant. You see, the confusion here on this planet, as I see it, is people confuse gender with sex. And as it was so eloquently put in I've seen it many places, but of course being part of that community, to save a lot of confusion with people, of course, and you've got people that are, it's actually quite funny. People in fear of beings like me. It's like like, oh my God, I just made your day interesting. 1, okay, so get over it. And 2, have a deeper look into it. And here was the lesson for me. A lot of people confuse sex with gender. No, sex is between the legs. Gender is between the ears. Where do you live? And you'll find out very quickly where you are. You're either stuck in the low vibration chakra, or you're in heaven, right? So just bear that in mind. You see, that's one of the illusions here. And I've said it countless times. I'm just a clue. I'm a walking, talking three-way. The 3 in 1. You see, the himself, herself, creating itself. That's what the universe is all about. Find me something more basic and fundamental than magnetic electric, and I'm all ears. Then we build it from there. Because out of the magnetic electric came the word. And you can only hear the word in silence. That's your own voice. Here's for recent and new time people joining in. Close your eyes. I'm going to show you your voice. I'm going to let you hear you. that you may not have noticed yet. But I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to say rabbit in your head only. Did you hear it? So who was talking? Did you create it? Did you see the rabbit as you heard it? That's you. That's the only voice in your existence that's yours. That's a different perspective of me. And what we're doing right now is we're working our way back so that we can hear each other without opening our tongue pledges and giving away our spirit breath through sigil intent and language created by another. And the game for me has been to remove all intent in another's creation by understanding the truth of what's really going on to nullify and neutralize it. In order to see this world, you must have neutral eyes. Funny how that works. And there's the word new. Is that as in brand new or something you knew? It means both. It's the same sound. Right? Right, right, or right. What was your intent? That's the problem with the tricky little bastard. The intent is always what is assumed and presumed in this game. And when you start removing the assumption and presumption had by others, that's the spell that's cast on you, allowing others to assume and presume what it is you think, feel, be, do, and have. You can get caught up in all sorts of illusions, all sorts of traps, where someone is appearing to be your savior. Call it opt, call it government, call it church. I don't give a shit what you want to call it. But if you're looking outside of yourself to be saved, there is no one coming to save you but you. And here's the neat thing. Put that in the mirror. Make the choice for yourself. Instead of seeking outside of yourself, looking for a savior, simply ask. It's your universe, it's your creation, it's your reality. Simply ask. I learned that one on the way home tonight. And it was confirmed when I got back here with the Mayan Oracle cards. I finally decided that, yeah, I'm worthy. And I finally decided that it's okay. So I'm sending myself my own rescue. Neat, eh?
Yep. Hi, Kate. Hi, Nat. Hi, Nenji.
Hey, how are ya?
Hello. This is the Netherlands calling.
Hello, Lambert.
Hello. I was listening and wanted to react, but didn't want to disturb you. About a few things about pedestals and how beautiful you are. But let me first give a reaction to the gender and sex. Because I have, I think there's another part, and that is the heart. What gender are you in your heart? That's where I look mostly to my heart, what I feel in my heart, what I am. And I think in my heart I am both, male and female. In my head, that's a little different.
I hear you. Well, yeah. The Merkaba is the alternating spin, yeah? Fundamentally, something will... the illustration of it, I'm really glad you brought this up. So let me try to break this down a bit as I see it. See what resonates. Now, when you see the Merkaba, you see the the inverted pyramid above, and think of the Merkaba. Somebody decided to call it a Star of David, which it is not. That's bullshit. But when you get the triangle facing up and the triangle facing down, if you can visualize the top one turning one direction and the bottom one turning the other, you see therein lies the confusion, because something turning in one direction turns in both anyway. So when I see illustrations of the Merkaba turning clockwise and counterclockwise, the one above turning one direction, the one below turning the other, what you're dealing with there is a quad polarization, four-way polarization. I'll illustrate it like this. If you were to, let's say, get a visual of watching the news, and in the background it has the planet turning, like they do, BBC or whatever, CNN, doesn't matter. And you'll always see the Earth from the north at the top, south at the bottom, right? Which is kind of an arrogant thing to do, assuming that somehow the universe is positioned up and down in that particular direction. I don't know, watch TV standing on your head and tell me where the north and south poles are. Right. So anyway, you're looking at this planet as it's turning. They like to do the turning thing. It looks really neat. But you'll notice that it is turning, from the left it's turning towards you. It's turning counterclockwise, looking at the equator. Now, if you were to shift your perspective and go up over the North Pole, in the way it's presented to you, you'll look down and you'll see, absolutely, indeed, it is turning counterclockwise. And then you have to shift your perspective in order to see both sides of the same coin, and you'll go up looking from underneath it, and lo and behold, if it isn't turning clockwise. So it's turning in one direction based on how you're looking at it. Now, if you were standing on your head, it would be turning in the opposite direction at the equator. So that's the illusion within the illusion. So let's take it even further. Let's go quad on this one. Let's go 4 times it. Because divine feminine is split into good and evil, as is the divine masculine, good and evil. So there's your quadrupolar aspect. Good clue was that the sun just went quadrupolar in May. We've achieved this reality. Okay? Now, if you have a pyramid turning counterclockwise above and one turning clockwise below, what you have now are 2 globes to look at from north and south. So you've actually got 4 different directions going on, 2 working in unison, so on each one, right? While one appears to be turning counterclockwise above and clockwise below, depending on where you place yourself in that perspective, you'll see both parts of it turning clockwise at the same time and both parts turning counterclockwise at the same time. I know this is a bit of a heady concept, but when you start to understand, it's all about your perspective. And how are you looking at it? Are you being spellbound into looking at it from a certain way that you were conditioned and very well programmed into looking at it? Or are you going to get a little original in your thinking and go, no, I'm going to stand on my head and look at the equator. Damn it, it's turning clockwise. There's your pole shift, you see. You see, I am a living example of a pole shift. My whole world turned upside down when I decided to reverse my magnetism. And only in the physical viewpoint. I've always been both. And there are many layers to this, specifically, like I've shared many times, the internal war that I've had to fight trying to be wrong about me my whole life. To finally accepting the fact that, maybe being me isn't such a bad thing, and I kind of have a unique perspective on things. And that's all I'm trying to share. There's nothing profound about me. And there's everything profound about me, because that's you too. I'm the net result of you, so, give yourself a standing ovation. Well done.
Just did.
So that's we're just the mirror of each other, we are the shadow reflection of each other as well. And we get to be the ones to decide that. So, and if you guys don't mind, I'm going to toss on a tune here, just real quick, because we've got about a little over 20 minutes before we go to recording rollover. But it's quite cool here right now. It just chilled down. I need to throw something on my legs. I'm freezing. So I'm going to toss on a song here. Any requests from anyone?
Lullaby, Do you have that present?
Yep, absolutely. So I'll put that one on. Request taken, and there you go. Oh, no, thank you. I'd rather others choose this now. If I can get my friggin' internet to work here, that would be good too, wouldn't it? All right, let's try this, see if this works. No, it looks like it's frozen up on me here. Ninja, can you do the 4-second critical mass and bio, please, if you could? That would be awesome. Yeah, my board's frozen up here.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
For some reason, I cannot see that song here.
It's right at the very top.
No, I don't see it. It's interesting. I can't see it. It's not there. Aha! I think we'll have to have another one if you want me to press it, because I don't see it.
Well, pick whatever. It should be right at the very, the second song at the very top.
Ah, sorry. Right at the very top. Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
There's other things in between. Here we go. Sorry, everyone.
No worries. Thanks, Nancy.
Hush now softly, can't you hear? Mockingbird, she must be near. She sings her song, the bio lullaby. Misty morning, lazy sun, broken only by the river run. Mississippi River, take me in your arms. Take me in your arms for just another day. Floating by, I can clearly see Baton Rouge to eternity, New Orleans backwards into time. The Delta blues are more than song, broken dreams long lost and gone like a cotton field, laying falling by the wind. But that's the way it is, that's the way it is. Wouldn't want it any other way. Friendly smiles enough to say, yeah, it'll be alright, and I don't have to worry none. Friendly word or a passing wave makes southern sense when I'm away, and I'm just glad I'm back where I belong. I'm back where I belong. All my worries, all my fears, up and leave me, they just disappear. Like so much nothing, so much for taking time. 'Cause on the water or on the shore, this is home and so much more. Old man river, take me in your arms. Take me in your arms. I'm home sweet home again. Wouldn't want it any other way. Friendly smiles enough to say, yeah, it'll be alright, and I don't have to worry none. Friendly word or a passing wave that makes southern sense when I'm away, and I'm just glad I'm back where I belong. I'm back where I belong. Hush now softly, can't you hear? The mockingbird, she must be near. She sings her song, the bio lullaby.
And welcome back. Yeah, it doesn't look like my my web browser is working at all here. So there you go. It's kind of being intermittent. I have no idea how much stream is left. It's stuck at 17:18 right now. So
you're out of time.
What's that?
I said you're out of time. It's Mim.
Hey.
We're like out of time. I'm
Gotcha.
sitting here just giggling. I've got this chuckle. I can't stop smiling, and I'm having so much fun. I was thinking while that song was playing, that I'm on a beach at a campfire, which is something I've never gotten to do before, but I feel like I'm with this group of people, and we're having this campfire evening on the beach, but I feel like I'm in the river. I'm in that zone, and the train, I got cut off during, when you were speaking, and the train kept whistling or blowing, and I got cut off, and I said, oh, yes, and I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get back in, and I came in, and the whistle was blowing again, a long blast, and ever since then, I've just been laughing. Right
on. Yeah, it's interesting how that seems to just kind of materialize exactly when, the more profound things are coming out. It's like, yeah, Jericho fell, good. With
the whole evening, the whole conversation, there's just been such a flow of the information coming out. And, again, what people are sharing, what Ninja was sharing is just, man, I've got to go back and listen to them tonight. You did that, or look on the website or something. But
that's why I asked her to put it in writing so that people can show and tell, right? That's why I like doing the shows, reading the essays that I do, so that you have show and tell, right? You can read it and hear it at the same time.
I'm an audio-visual, so I love it, yes. Anyway, I just wanted to say good evening, and it's wonderful to be here with you this evening. I feel like I'm at a weekend party that, I look forward to every day.
Well, any minute now we're going to break into Kumbaya. You know that, right? Campfire songs, right? So.
Absolutely. Just roasting those marshmallows and hanging back, and that song does something. I can't remember who the artist is. It's on the tip of my tongue that it reminds me of, and it's styled after that style of music that he did, that he was so famous for and kind of set the precedent for. But it just puts you in a mood. I love that Bayou Lullaby. I love it. Every time you play it, it settles me down and it makes me smile.
Yeah, I know the feeling. And see, that's the joy of me being able to tell everyone that I am your creation. And that one's not an easy one for the vast majority to get. That's the problem with the myopic viewpoint of the ego, where, see, this is why I laugh at, copyrights and patents and all the rest of this. It's like, here's one part of ourself that is trying to claim one part of ourself for itself, instead of looking at it from a collective all. Can you imagine what a world would be like without needing to claim ownership of anything and everything? Doesn't that make more sense to you? It makes more sense to me.
Now we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, we are. That's the stream I'm in. It's where, no one. Here it is. It's free will choice. I wish for all that which they wish for themselves, and that can be anything, unconditional. I will not deny any form or any part of creation whatsoever. I am merely one of the spawn or pawns, if you will, on the game. And only the pawn, the lowly pawn, right, has the power, working in unison with others, to checkmate every king and crush it. There's always the pawns that are sacrificed first, no? Look at a chess game and see how many pawns are left at the end of the game. They're usually the first ones to go. Anytime I play chess, I defend my pawns like the queen, because I know how important they are. The pawn will always be the game changer, because the pawn is the one that sets the pace of the game to begin with. Do I take 2 steps forward or 1? And which one do I move first? but there you go. By moving the pawn, you set your true strengths free, your bishops, your knights, your rooks. Actually, the knights can jump right over them, right? But you got the rook, the bishop, and the queen. In order to set those free, you have to move some pawns. And you're going to have to lose a few on the way. There's your Scylla and Charybdis, right? Yet so many are so protective of little pieces and cling on to things that they prefer to cling on to and maintain the drama fest, if you will. It looks like my internet's trying to reboot itself here. You guys still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right, yeah, my Internet Explorer had to open and close itself again. Anyway, yeah, we have to, decide, in order to get the greater truths, what are we willing to sacrifice? This is a game of ebb and flow. You can't, you got to balance it out. All right, I want this truth. What am I willing to give up for it? And some of the pawns I've had involve family, my home, so much. But I'll tell you, what it did is it freed up my queen and my bishops and knights and rooks to move. And that's what that for me is what the game is all about. That's the nature of the game. That was the name of my first album, by the way. You've heard a lot of people say Nature of the Beast, but I'd never heard anyone ever. I should actually upload that song. That was the title track of the first CD we did, and but never heard anyone ever say Nature of the Game. And I only ever came across it once afterwards. I guess about 5 years ago. And this is back. We did the album in '92. So it's like 21 years ago I did that album. Can't believe that. But anyway, yeah, one of the lines in the song that always, a few of the lines in there are very profound when I look back at it. But one of the lines in the song is, "It's not the part you play that counts, it's how you play the game." Because every part, whether it's the pawn or the most powerful on the board, the divine feminine queen, who can move in any direction, because that's the allegory of the divine feminine. Creation goes anywhere it wants. And it takes a lot to take creation out, sometimes. And sometimes you have to sacrifice your queen to save the king. And in doing so, with the right move, you end up checkmating the opponent. And most of us don't realize that chess game that we're playing actually involves ourselves. That we're actually playing against ourselves, not so much others. That's why I think so many people have a hard time really taking the time to look at themselves honestly, and better yet, to even take the time to sit and ponder oneself. I'm guilty of that one all the time. See, one of the things about 7 nights a week is I put in an inordinate amount of pressure upon myself, because when we all gather at this table, I want to bring some really new, cool food. Like, check this out, And not every night I do that, and I really put a lot of pressure on myself to perform. So the me time that I generally take for myself to zone out is usually involved, checking out a movie, or checking out videos, or listening back to things, or reading, or whatever, and just waiting for that one nugget to show up. And actually, the nuggets that came out tonight showed up tonight, because I got back here and set up about 6:15. I had to reboot, which I did, and that always takes up to 10 minutes. To get everything back in order, and of course post the links and everything else. So I don't generally get a lot of time to think before shows. That's why between my time 6 and 7, I don't do a lot of chatting with anybody, because I'm just too busy. I'll answer people, and that's the thing too, is I will answer. So that's why I put it out to everyone. Could you try not to do tag me an hour before the show, because I kind of need my zone time to get done, so I can get the word out to everybody. And share the links and what have you. And here's the irony of that. As long as you have the Critical Mass Radio Online link, all you got to do is click on that, and we'll always bring you to the current show because it's always the one at the top. So I don't necessarily have to post the links all the time, and I know some of you do that. You have it saved in your favorites, and all you got to do is click on it, and there it is, upcoming show, right at the top every single time. And it's not like you have to worry about planning your week out either. The only real time anything changes is, like Monday nights typically with QL television after, which I know Johnny got a bit busy this week, so we didn't end up getting one done. And then, Tuesday from 1 to 3 Eastern Standard Time, that's 6 to 8 Greenwich Mean Time, I'm on the Critical Mass main page. So I'll share that link, and hopefully people will save that. But I do my best to get word out to people. But that 1 hour prior is really the only zone time I get, and I'm always doing something. So I put a lot of pressure on me to make sure that there's something, there's just one thing every night that is new, is fresh, that can resonate with others, literally to give people the want to come back. And for me, it's not about the quantity of listeners. Or I hate saying that. You guys know what I mean. That's the problem with a level playing field. There's so very few words in our language that really cover that. Tuned in is what the rest of the tuned in people, the rest of the tuned in me and what have you, want to make sure that there's something every single night. And the other part of that too is, regardless of what we end up talking about, you see, I have my perspective, my experience, and what I'm trying to share. But like the song Bio Lullaby, every one of you that heard that, or any songs I have, this is why the songs are not mine. They came through me. That's it. Because when you hear the song, you get your own visuals. You get your own feelings, your own memories, your own experience that comes to mind that has nothing to do with, why I caught the song and presented it. I have my own feeling on that song, my own experience, my own reasons in it, and what it means to me. And I'm the only one that can experience that from my perspective, just as you are the only one that can experience it from yours. There's nothing like a good song to bust an ego apart, because it gives you the concept that you are your own most beautiful, wonderful experience in a separate but connected experience external to mine. The saying about, if you want to know how someone else feels, we'll walk a mile in their shoes. Excuse me. And that's a very true statement. But it's a very limited mile. I don't know the culmination of the experiences you've had to give you the sum of the parts that you are. It's just like me. But I do know we have that much in common, that we are the sum of our experiences with everything and everyone around us. That one is our truest connection. And for me, when people finally get into that and see that, you start to look at the futility of the drama, the futility of the wars, the futility of the hate, the sexism, the racism, the religio-cosus chosen-itis-isms, churchianity, as Santo calls it. You start to put all those things aside, and you start to see the world as a blind man or woman does. Much can be assumed based on a canvas that was painted for you. But assumption and presumption leaves the room as soon as you wipe your canvas clean and say, no, I'm going to think for me for a change. I'm going to question everything that I was ever taught, everything I ever thought I knew to be real. I'm going to question it to the point where I know it's bullshit. Because if it doesn't contain unconditional love, it's bullshit. that for me is probably one of the biggest truisms I have. We got to get original in our thinking. Was it you last? We were talking about notes, or somebody I was talking about with notes, A, B, C, D, F, G, and every note or every chord arrangement has already been used.
Yes, I brought that up.
Yeah. And what did I say? The only thing that's different that we do with those
is the melody.
The melody. What's your song? Because we talked about, I've deliberately used the same chord progressions, same time signatures, and everything else, and written dozens of songs. We got 90 seconds left here, so my most loving shout out to criticalmassradio.co.uk, Paul Giovanni and Lisa and the crew at Critical Mass. Thank you guys so much for setting this table for us every single night, where we can sit around and kumbaya, huh? And for those that can and are so inclined, Critical Mass Radio is always in need of a little help. And if you can, great. If it's just intent, well, not just intent. Intent is the magic. Then please, share the information, share the intent, and if you have a little extra, share that if you can. Greatly appreciated. No pressure. Universe will keep things flowing. I just choose to be a part of it as much as I can. So there you go. But getting back to the songs, yeah, I've done that. I've written dozens of songs using the same notes, chords, everything. And I play around with things just to see where it goes, just to prove my own theories of melody. And as I was saying to you last night, John, I'm a decent guitar player. As far as rhythm goes, I mean, that's my strength. That's why you can put me anywhere and build a band around me, no problem. Because that's just the nature of the way I play. And I'm not a flashy lead player. I can tinker around, do a little bit of this, that, and the other, and I don't use what I call $5 and $10 chords that jazz musicians use. I use the $1.50, $2 ones. They serve me best. But for music with me, if I'm to look at what I do, I've always and only ever seen my strengths in the writing department of melodies, lyrics, and rhythms. That's it. I'll leave the paint and the decorating and a lot of the other bells and whistles for those that are far greater than I at it. And I've worked with some beautiful beings over the years that just astonish me. Actually, my friend Sam, who was a lead guitarist for Athen Rai, I showed him his first chords on guitar, only to have him turn around and in terms of lead guitar and ability and style, just smoked me, like left me in the dust, and there was no one happier, because I got to see the part of creation that I was a part of. If I'd never sat down with him just to spend a little time, he asked, would you show me? I said, sure, I'd love to. I sat down and showed him, a handful of chords. We sit around and play for, a couple hours or whatever, and work things through. I'm a very patient being. I can play 3 chords all day long, and I'll be happy doing it. And then I watched this little seed that was planted turn into a mighty oak tree. So any of the Athen Rai tunes where you're hearing the lead guitar, that's Sam. And one of the joys of working with Sam was he was always able to pick out the melodies I was looking for in his leads without ever saying a word. But it was interesting, too, with the one song, On Common Ground. There was one part where I suggested to him he wanted to do a much fancier solo and scale climb or whatever. And I said to him, no, just do 3 notes. Da, da, da. It's all we need. It's all the song needs. It doesn't need any more than that, because he did some solo stuff at the end and whatever. Plenty of time to play around. But he fought me tooth and nail on it. To the point where he was doing stuff, and I said, Sam, just, humor me. Just humor me. Just play those 3 notes, and let's listen back to see what it feels like. And he did. And you'll never guess what his favorite part of the song was. Those 3 notes. Because it totally it said everything at that point of the song that it needed to, and it stood out. I actually might play the song, and it's called On Common Ground. Why don't I do that? Because we're in the recording now. The song's called On Common Ground. I was asked to write a song for, I don't know if I can get my internet to work. Well, it looks like it's wanting to. For this young man, Ryan, who was quadriplegic, going across Canada, coast to coast, with his dad in his very, very cool built bike for him, right? So I'm not sure. No, it was paraplegic. Had use of his arms, and but I was asked to write this song, and I did, and it was donated. I said, sure, I'd love to write this for you, and this is what came out of it. Now I just got to get down to it, see where it is. It's called On Common Ground. I've played it once before, so I'll play it now. But you'll hear the three notes. Excuse me, towards the end of the song. I think it's before the last chorus out, or actually it's the lead into the bridge, and you'll hear the da da da. Wait for it, and it was funny because anytime we played it live, I always turned to him and looked at him when he was going to play it, and he always had a smile. It was like, yeah, I know. So here it is, On Common Ground, and we'll chat after.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
All right, so did you hear the notes? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody there? Or am I
yes.
Yeah. Did you hear it?
I heard them.
How that's like down, down, down. It just takes you home with it, right? That was so I needed something in there just to say bridge coming up, and I want that guitar to stand out more than anything else. And Sam thought it was going to be like just too simple, and I said no. Sometimes it's the simple things we miss, and it's the simple things that make it so powerful.
I even heard the smile.
Yeah, isn't it cool? Eh? I was going to unmute and go, here it is, but I wanted to see if you guys heard it, and that was just I looked forward to that part of the song every time because I knew Sam was in his glory. Great soloist. I mean, one of the best guitarists I've ever known. Just a natural, raw, melodic talent, and we started at 92 and finished 99, so it was 7 years as a band. And I'll tell you, the four-piece we ended up with, Mike, Sam, John, and myself, you had to see us live. And fortunately, many people did. And I think there were some videos still kicking around, but I know I'd lent one to a former keyboardist. I never got it back. That was the guy I lent my keyboard to that sold it. Alcohol problem. Sold my mics and stuff too. So again, it was just an ego thing. Another peeling away of possessions to see how I would handle it. And well, there it is. Obviously needed it more than I did, so there you go. Not something I would do. However, I got to be the mirror of that lesson to see that which I would not do. You'd think most people would, not do that anyway, but apparently not. But there you go. Just looking forward to getting back to playing. Got a couple of ideas in my head as far as my next steps, and I'll share those as I walk this walk, as I always do. I think I'm pretty upfront with everything I do. Hey. Wow, no one wants to talk here.
Yeah. At the end of the song, Kate, I think the solo player was very glad to get some solo activity into the song.
Oh yeah, Sam chomped it the bit the whole way through that song. Like even those end of the verse hangs, hanging on an unresolved. I love doing that in songs. So it just kind of goes da, and then you come back in again. It's like, and then of course when you have these unresolved chords coming back into a verse, it kind of just leaves that musical tension there until the very end of the song. Then it lets itself loose, right? I look at music as a tapestry. Like anytime I'm in studio, I don't hear the sound as much as I see the layers, and I try to weave the tapestry so that it's layered and textured, so that you see all parts of the cloth. You don't see, where like you'd see bass as a layer, and it's fairly thick. I don't want to put that over the see-through linen of a guitar solo. So it's again, it's that is the oddity of me. And I've talked to studio engineers and about the concept of it, and they said, I never thought of it like that. And they said, yeah, I see what you're saying. And again, it's a show and tell. It's a visual sonic with me, and therein lies another part of me that allowed me to do the show and tell with the As Above, So Below. It's like everything, and this is what I really like to drill home with people, everything you've done in your life mattered. There were no mistakes. There were no coincidences. Everything you chose in your life path has brought you here. Can you see it? Can you see the choices you made? Can you see the layers that you painted? Can you look at how you've woven your own fabric? Because you're a beautiful interweaving of yourself. What things did you do to give you clues as to your purpose? And everything you've done are clues to your purpose. And I think for me, the greatest loss anyone could experience is to miss the magic of their own life by getting caught up in the dramas of others, by getting caught up in and I'm as guilty as anyone else. This is why I can see it. Been there, done that, not doing that anymore. But they miss the very essence and the purest part of themselves by trying to, be accepted by others, by trying to control others, by getting caught up in the entanglements of dramas and webs of deceit and mistrust and deception and animosity and anger and hate and all these other crazy emotions. Of course, we need to experience them. But how long are you going to stay on the channel? How many reruns are you going to watch before you're going to stop arguing with the same individual you argue with all the time? When are you going to stop and say, I've had enough of that show. I'm just not going to actually throw any popcorn at it to keep it fed. I'm just kind of going to go, yeah, okay. That's how you feel. It's fine. I'm good. I'm not going to take your TV channel personal because I can't. And I'll tell you, over the last number of months, I've had some very, very hateful, very spiteful stuff thrown at me. And the truth of it is, I know my own experience and I know my own intent. And I know why people come in, and because I'm not all the savior that they want to keep their little realms working the way they want their little realms to work, I become the hated. And that's okay. I know what my intent was. And the hardest part about sharing truth, especially with regards to court truths and whatever, if you want the answer, it's in I who shall not be named. And when you finally understand the level and magnitude of the fraud you have committed unknowingly, and how by that deception and the commission of fraud in that ignorance, we have all been guilty equally. Once you finally come to the reality of what is really going on as to how they captured us mind, body, and soul, once you see it and can step beyond it, therein lies the biggest test of all, because you're going to have to deal with your own truth. You're going to have to deal with your own mirror. You're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror, and see, the thing is, I have very specific beings in mind when I say some things. You're going to have to look in the mirror and say, I failed because of me this time, not because of someone else that I blamed. Be it a spouse, be it a boyfriend, girlfriend, a business partner, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. I have funded a few of those, willingly, unconditionally, knowing full well the outcome. But I will do it. I will give my gold willingly. And will you dare to touch my soul? Will you dare to take a ride on the magic carpet ride of truth? I'll tell you, the only thing holding me back is, guess who? The rest of me. You see, when you take full responsibility for yourself, you also take full responsibility for all self. That's me and you. Collectively as one, not separate yet separate. Not all yet all. Not one yet one. Mirror, mirror. If you want to see infinity, all you have to do is place two mirrors in front of each other. And the hardest thing to be is the mirror of self, to look into your own infinity. And self, by the way, is looking at me as I look at you, as we all look at each other. And if you cannot see the infinity within those two mirrors, you're caught in the drama. And I know I fight with it all the time too. So don't think that there's something magical here that I do different. No, I'm still learning too. I'm still fumbling my way through and getting bitch slapped by the universe on occasion as well. I'm still questioning every choice I made. Did I do the right thing? Of course I did. Will things get better or worse? Well, of course they will. Who knows? The only choice I have to make is, am I willing to stand in it to the last breath? And you're damn straight I will. Because for you, I will do it willingly. Because you're me, why wouldn't I? And I think my own personal feeling is if we take the time to deem all others as important as self, without excluding self, then I think we're really on to something. Then I think we'll have a very good fundamental understanding of each other and a good common ground on which we can all stand shoulder to shoulder, instead of, I'm special because I know so-and-so. I'm special because I get to be here and no one else. You got a bit of growing up to do. Sorry. Because here's the thing about my table. Anyone that shows up at my table, they come equal. All dreamers must be equal. That's what the common ground's about. And the minute when we start making ourselves feel more special or less special than anyone else is the minute when our own pendulum is out of whack. And there's no one else can fix it but you. I've often said the most balanced people in the world that I know are the ones that carry a chip on each shoulder. Best knock one of those off to get an idea of how out of balance you truly are. I know I carry them on my shoulders. That's how I know they're there. You see, anything I put out there where people might say, oh, you're judging another. I say, well, fuck you, I judge me first. That's how I know about this. So how about you look in your egotistical mirror, have a good look at yourself. Instead of looking outside of yourself, getting pissed off, getting angry, getting silent, running away. What are you running from? You're running from your own fucking shadow, right? And I love that video by Tobias Lars, Face Your Fucking Shadow. Feel and heal it, because no one else can. You get to win and fail all by yourself. We're all pawns here. And we're all kings and queens, too. All at the same time. We are every piece on that chessboard on both sides equally. 'Tis what the 64 squares are all about. Infinity times itself. 8 times 80, 64. It's funny how that one always stuck with me when I was a kid, when I first, learn your times tables. Yeah, okay, yeah, no problem, whatever. It's just music. Anyway, mini rant over. I think I had a moment or two in there, so.
Yeah, Kate, and when you sit at the table, you have to learn or to get to know how beautiful you are.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, I can't say it enough. People have ego issues. Then they're, and of course, issues with me. If I dare go at it with a chainsaw, and I will. It's not because I don't love you. It's because I do love you, and I want to see you. I don't want to see the program. I've seen your rerun. I've seen your boyfriend, girlfriend, high school fucking garbage mentality. Absolutely. I've seen you want to fight with this individual and be silent with that one and do all manner of nonsense and silly childish stuff. That's the grown-up child. So many adult children. Like, think about it. That's the realm. I mean, that's what I was thinking about today. It says, why would I ever want to go back into that childish, immature state of being, when I would sooner be the child within, you know, to bring back that beautiful innocence, that purity. That's the true child. Whining about, you know, what cereal you don't get in an aisle as translated to arguing with someone, I'll leave that for the consumerians, and I will grant them all the unconditional love for doing so. I will simply preface it with, it's not something I would do. Not anymore. Done that, been there, you know. I've done the bicker fest. I've done all the nonsense. And I've still got lots more to learn. But the joy of this is knowing that I've got a better footing now. I've got something more solid to stand on. I'm not walking across quicksand anymore. I'm building my castles on rock, not sand. I am building towards an infinity, not a meat stick death. You know, I drove past, I guess like well, for lack of a better way to call it, an old folks home, elderly residence, and just sat out in the country. It was beautiful and everything else. And there was maybe half a dozen or so, people sitting out in the front lawn. And then I drove past a sign, staff and visitor, entry. I got to tell you, the only thought that came to mind was they're missing one sign there. Welcome. Please come here to die. This is your last stop. Well, tell me I'm wrong. Here we have a society that shovels our mums and dads and grandparents off to these homes because we can't be fucking bothered to love them anymore. They're somebody else's problem. Oh, their incontinence is their issue. Oh, I guess they didn't change your fucking diapers either, huh? Mirror, mirror. Look how far lost we got. All for the materialism, all for the lust of the ego. To have this, to have that, to have the other, and screw mom, screw dad, screw grandma, grandpa, and the rest of them. They can go to the old folks' home, hang out with people their own age, and they'll justify it all day long. Well, they get the health care they need, and they get this. No, they don't. All they get is their bank accounts drained and a quicker death, and a lonelier one too. Look at you. You see, I have the blessing of knowing that both my parents never had to suffer that. And they never would have. It's like when I hear people bitch about their mom or bitch about their dad or all whatever. I'll tell you, the only thing that I can think of is I wish I had my mom and dad still here to bitch about.
I'm with you on that one, Kate.
I know you are. Do you see how the viewpoint changes? You don't know what you got till it's gone, baby. So you might try to enjoy it a little more while you do, huh? Maybe. I think that's a good idea. It's something I would do for sure. Because I'll tell you, there's nothing I'd love more than to have mom and dad stand in front of me where I could say, I love you. Oh, they can hear me anyway. Who knows where they're off, what universe they're playing in right now. And here's something else too. I'm gonna take your whole family and shred it for you as to how important it really is to you. Shall I? Why, you're so focused on the family you have around you right now, your moms, your dads, your grandparents, your children, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your siblings, brothers, sisters, et cetera, on down the line. One question I'm going to ask you. How much have you thought about all those family members from your previous life? Have you cast them one thought that were so important to you then? And here's another thought. The very Muslim that so many are going, I gotta go kill him, might be one of your grandchildren in a different perspective. So who are we killing? all of you that are, I know the people tuned in here are not, this is putting it to the Akashic, okay? I do like to make sure, all right? If it resonates with you, fine, great. If not, it doesn't matter. I'm putting it to the Akashic. You know, dear Christian, that Jew or that Muslim that you are so vehemently wanting to slaughter might be from a previous family that you love dearly, might even be a previous lover, previous wife, husband, child. Did you stop and think about that? See, there's the problem with saying there is no such thing as reincarnation, and I don't like using that word. It's an ongoing flow here. Because the minute and they took it out of the Bible, wonder why? Well, you see, because if you had any concept of lifetime after lifetime, you wouldn't be so quick to slaughter yourself and, people that you loved once in a different meat stick once. Certainly puts a whole new twist on shit, don't it? Works for me. That's why your children are as important as mine. That's why your mother and father are as important as mine. The most divisive thing we've ever experienced on this earth is family. Have you ever noticed that, one of your siblings or, prime example, you get identical twins, one turns out to be one of the most glorious humanitarians, one turns out to be a serial killer. How does that happen? Well, because you're dealing with consciousness. You're not dealing with meat sticks. Take the hint. You never know where and what part of consciousness is going to come in, where and when. Imagine how Jeffrey Dahmer's mom and dad felt. Great, we raised a serial killer. Like to keep body parts in the freezer. Was it his upbringing? No, that's just consciousness. Probably done that a few lifetimes. So I'm just trying to broaden the horizons and the perspectives of those of you that I deem my family. You all are. Why would I treat you less than my own children? I think that would be wrong. That's not something I would do. So I'm just trying to broaden the horizons a little bit so we start reaching outside of ourselves. I don't care where you're from. Like I said, this time around, I dropped my consciousness into a meat stick in Belfast. Little rock in the North Atlantic called Ireland. Why? Well, because I needed some clues as to how to wrap this game up. That's it. Doesn't make me more special or less special than anybody else. It just gave me the design that I needed to get to where I am right now, just as yours is. Nothing more divisive than saying, God bless America. Fuck the rest of the world. Yeah, that works. See what I mean? Hell of a program we got running in it. A lot of tough pills to swallow here, guys. I know, I choked on most of them. I still choke on a few. But I prefer truth. I don't need to be right or wrong. I just want truth. And that's a big pill. If you can't take it all in one swallow, then just break it up. Take it with a little sugar if you have to. But you got to get that medicine in you. That truth. Because we are all so deathly ill with aberration. And it's this construct that we're in. And the only ones that can change this construct are us. Why do you think they came after the us so heavily in program? By the way, that's the U.S. Did you see the allegory? I did. I just trying to share some very basic things that'll stop us killing each other, hating each other, thinking we're somehow different because we have a different culture, a different part of the world that we came from, a different, and let's just leave religion right out of this because that's and government and politics. That's all just pure program. Legal system, governments, all the rest of it, that's all program. And the longer we buy into it, the longer it stays. So if you're not part of the solution, you are the problem. I just chose to step away from the whore. So, no thanks. No thanks. I'm trying to cut back on pestilence. And that's it. And I think based on where I bring this perspective from, I've been blessed with many gifts and that's all I'm doing is sharing the gifts that universe offers. Go to my page. You won't see a donate button there. Everything I've done is available online. Music, essays, documents, articles, radio shows, all of it. And I take great pride in saying it won't cost you a fucking dime. Because here's the thing about truth. It belongs to all of us. And with a lot of the program that runs here too, unfortunately, most people don't feel there's any value in anything until they pay for something. I'm trying to break that illusion too, and that's why I'm at war with this all the time. But I'll tell you, I'll give you a quick little story that will make an allegory of what I'm trying to share with you. This true story. High school. I remember there was a couple of guys. This is back in the '80s here, okay? So, that's when the Camaros were like the hot car. They were the get out shit car. Remember the Trans Ams with a big eagle on the hood? What do you call it? Smokey and the Bandit, right? But anyway, there was this story involves two Camaros, and I remember the one student. Family was a bit better to do than most in the school, and he showed up at school with a brand spanking new Camaro. 17 years old, sorry, to have the money for a brand new Camaro ain't something you're going to get working part-time at one of those poison places like Rotten Ronnie's or Burger Thing, So it was a gift. It was a birthday present. Brand new, gorgeous. And there was another guy, same age, had scrimped and saved up enough to buy an older one that needed a lot of work. And spent a year babying this car back into glorious perfection. The cars side by side, all the one being brand new and the other one being 5 or 6, probably 4 years older. Side by side, and they're pretty much identical anyway. Gorgeous. Here's the irony of it all. The next school year, the guy that did all the work on his own car, because he saved up and did it himself, the car was still pristine, immaculate. The other one looked like a piece of shit. The brand new one, garbage all through it, scratches, ripped seats, cigarette burns. Filthy. A couple of dings in it. And why do you think that is? Well, because the guy that got it handed to him, absolutely free of charge, had no concept of value. That's the old taken for granted. Well, mom and dad have all the money, so I can just, didn't give a shit. And the other guy, because he had to earn it. He needed to put his heart and soul into it. And he did. Took care of it meticulously. And I'll tell you something else about both of those individuals, too. I feel a whole lot safer on the roads with the guy that worked on his car to bring it back to what it was. Because he's going to be very careful. Insurance or no insurance. All insurance is, by the way, on cars, is a license to wreck it. I'll tell you, if you are traveling along fully responsible for you and others, you'll drive a whole lot more careful. See, all insurance has done is increased the crash and death stats because it makes people more carefree. They don't care. Well, if I wreck, the front end or whatever, someone else will pay for it. I pay the premiums, and there's a justifier. Ego will justify, and they work these programs into us so well. And woe betide you if they don't have insurance. Oh, they don't like that. It's mandatory. They want to make sure that when they fuck you without a condom. And they keep doing it. And you go, ooh, that feels good. Throw some more sand in there, please. Make it 80 grit sandpaper. And by the way, toss a bucket of razor blades there as well. Oh, that's much better. There's your system that gets worshipped by everybody. How you like it now? No, I'll sit in the worked on Camaro with a very responsible individual long before I'll sit in with the brand new Camaro with the egotistical, don't give a shit, taken for granted, wreck it, who cares, I'll get another one mentality. And I know you all have people in your lives like that. You've seen this example in your own life, your own experience. Just a different one from the one I saw. I've seen many like that, but that was one that really stood out to me. Because it's been a rare occasion in my life to actually have a new vehicle. It's happened once, twice, 3 times. And when you think I started driving when I was 16, that's over 33 years. That was one new one every 11 years. And you got people out there, they're picking up a new car every year or two. Why? Well, because that's the ego says so. I got to look good, right? I don't know about you, but I don't care what it looks like. Sure beats walking across the country, doesn't it? And that's really what it boils down to. So, mini allegory over, mini rant over. How are we doing now?
Great.
Right.
I was thinking about some sayings. Love doesn't. What is it? Love doesn't pay my bills. Living an authentic life doesn't pay my mortgage. And knowing how beautiful I am doesn't get my work done. That's about how people in general think.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
That's why they miss the best part of themselves. They actually miss themselves. So it's about taking the time to break free of the programs, if you can. And if not, well, you got another lifetime or two to try again. And you can choose to be just as miserable the next one as well if you want.
Question is, why are you here at all?
There's the big one, eh? Why are you here? What piece of the puzzle are you? Go on.
Why do you want to be here? I had a little epiphany about 2 years ago. Didn't read much. It just came to me the thought: if someone ever asked me, where do you want to be? Do you want to be on another planet? Do you want to leave with UFOs? Or do you want to stay on the planet? I felt deeply in my heart, I want to stay on this planet because I am one with her.
Yeah, I came here to fix shit. It's broken. Time to fix up, This is our Camaro that's a little beaten up, right? Let's spend a bit of time rebuilding her. We'll take better care of her.
Yeah, finding out how beautiful you are. I have a little story about that as well. About 14 years ago, I quit my job because I didn't like it. I just quit my job. And then I was thinking, well, what do I want to do now? Picked up the phone, called a monastery in Belgium, asked if they had a place in a little hermitage there, a hermitage. and went there for a week just to be there alone in a little hermitage. No one around me, no one talking to me. First, I only had a very small book to read with 7 chapters, and I went there for a week. So I thought by myself, every day I'm going to read 1 chapter. And I did that, did a lot of meditation, little bit of praying, and walking around in a little park. Didn't talk to anyone for a week. Well, first day went quite all right. Second day, I got used to the silence. Third day, got a little bit noisy in my head. Fourth day, I was thinking I was going mad because all of the war going on in myself, in my head, all the thoughts I had, it felt like I was going mad. The war and the noise was amazing. Fifth day, that had gone away a little. And on the 7th day, well, I was really calm. So I went to the prior of the monastery, paid for the week spending there, and I went home on a little motorcycle. And halfway home, I was driving on the road and looked to the left, saw the sun, and then a feeling came upon me. And the feeling was I saw that it is good. That was a very strange feeling. Being completely at ease with myself, being at ease with the world, being at ease with everyone. No noise anymore in my head, no nasty feelings I had left anymore.
Okay, what is that?
I don't know.
Is that the CME or what?
I have no idea. I didn't touch anything. I'm checking the board to see if something lit up. I don't recognize this at all. Oh, hang on. It looks like there's nothing playing. You see anything, Ninja?
Yeah, I hear it.
Oh, but can you see anything on the board? There's nothing playing.
No. I haven't touched anything.
No, neither did I. I was just sitting looking at the board and it just started doing it. All right, well, looks like we had a music interlude while we talk. So try to talk to the beat, Lambertus, would you please?
Okay. What'd you say, Kate?
Just try to talk with the beat. Yeah, I've had some pretty wild things happen. This has got to take the cake, though.
Kate, can you hear me?
I don't even recognize it.
Kate, can you hear me?
Unless somebody's found a new way to hack into Blog Talk. Down the phone list here. Too bizarre. Okay, well, yeah, I guess we have one of everything on this show. Anyway,
Hear me?
we're down. What's that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I don't know where it comes from. But, you know, as soon as it started, you know, our friends were sharing, and just had said how it's going to be this place of peace and all creation. And this music started, and it was like church bells, but it's got this very etheric quality to it. I know it. Oh my gosh, it's got a lot of sparkling right now. Well, I'm laughing because the universe seems to express it, and it's a song of creation. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm just going with the flow here.
This is bizarre.
Different. I don't know where it's coming from.
Well, it's not coming from this board, I can tell you that. One, I don't have anything like that on the board, and two, nothing was pushed, nothing is playing, it just started all by itself.
It's so unusual. You know, I'm sitting here with my phone on the seat next to me in the car, and I check my phone, I'm thinking, my phone's not being used, but I haven't touched it, so I don't think it's me.
No, that was going to be my next step to, you know, just put everything on hold to see.
And I don't recognize that music. I don't know where, you know, I've never heard that before, but that tinkling kind of a sound is very unusual and distinct and different.
Yeah, it was, yeah, let's see if something else fires up.
Every browsers and everything, but,
didn't know. Oh, it looks like the universe is trying to let us know something. I think we might be onto something.
I think we're onto something.
What was that?
Thank you for your call. You've reached heaven.
I agree.
Okay, well, you know, listen, we have some pretty odd stuff happening on these calls. I think we'll just chalk that one up to another one of those wild, wacky, and wonderful instances of WTF.
Sounds better than fireworks crackers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had those tonight, too.
Well,
so, you know,
it
just went off there. Can you hear them?
I can't hear it anymore. You know, it reminded me of fire and water. I don't know why. You know, like you said, fireworks and you know, and babbling brooks.
Yeah, and swans trumpeting, trains.
Yeah.
It means we're on the right track. That's the allegory I see with that. Every time the train goes off and we're doing okay, because it's not a regular schedule. These trains come and go whenever. They're not on any regular schedule. You know, it's basically when parts are needed at the plant, they're ordered and they show up exactly when they're supposed to. You know, bizarre, eh? Just bizarre.
So, Lambertus, you were on your way on the bike back home and you looked to the sun, and then what happened?
Well, I was just the feeling came upon me that everything is good. And when I was home, I had that feeling for another maybe 4 or 5 months. So that was very beautiful. I remember Jehovah's Witnesses at my door, and the amount of love that I had for them. Invited them in my home and talked with them about the beauty of life, and but they didn't know what I was talking about, because with Jehovah's Witnesses, it's very clear they're talking from a program. At least for me, it's clear they're talking from a program. So I was experiencing the love of God, if I may say so, and they were talking about the love of God, and we didn't have any connection because they were talking from the program love of God, and I was talking from the experience love of God. But maybe I was talking from my own beauty.
Guaranteed you were, Lambertus. You nailed that. You know, you can speak of the love of creation from a program or from your heart, and that's the only difference. And we're dealing with so many people that have a skewed reality on what love truly is. They're missing it. Here, I'll give you an example. Let's just say, tomorrow I decide to go out and, pick a Pentecostal assembly and just show up. What do you think the reaction would be? One of love or one of, what the fuck are you doing here? Jesus doesn't save your type. Right?
Yeah, right.
So what is it we're really trying to share?
Maybe the first reaction is fear.
Oh, guaranteed. Or envy. I'll tell you, today was kind of fun because down at the coffee shop, lots of motorbikes, right? Where this place is, there's lots of bikes show up all the time, like all the time. And went down and met Vicky, and it's always fun, just walking across the parking lot into the coffee shop and being empath, I get to feel it all, and it's always a mishmash, getting checked out, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? And there you go. I just made your day interesting, right? What were you thinking, pig? Right? This kind of, and yeah, there's definitely, I'm a culture shock. Not as dramatic, I think, as some trans beings are. I think I'm one of the lucky ones, in that I got a shit pile more smattering of the right, let's just say the right form than others. So I've always been very, very grateful for that. But nonetheless, there's still that moment to pause, right? And some people go, they freak. You can feel it, right? Oh my God, what's that? And then others are going, oh, pretty cool, neat. There's someone living their, dancing their dance. And so it's and now it's more of the latter than that fear porn of the prior. That's how I know things. I mean, I get to experience the shift in a very real way. So I assure you, from that perspective, things are definitely shifting. But think about it. I walk into any, well-to-do Christian church or synagogue or mosque or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter to me. What do you think the reaction is going to be? Is your God going to be so loving that it would, has taught you to love a freak of nature like me? Or are you still caught in the program? I'll bet on the latter, because I don't like wasting valuable energy. So there you go. Anyway, that being said, we got a couple of minutes left here. Guys, anything you want to say to?
You didn't pass Eve. You chose to stand in it. If you're past Eve, you just don't take care of yourself or anybody else. You just go with the flow, or you float with the stream, or.
Yeah, well, we're going upstream, and we got all our oars in the water here. That's the joy of this, because we're rowing our boat gently up the stream. Back to the source of creation of life itself. Oh, life starts upstream. It doesn't start downstream. That's where it ends up.
Yeah.
We're going against the grain. We're going against the flow. But what we're doing is creating that natural ebb and flow balance of the universe. And some of us have to row upstream, and we will pass many on their way back down. Jacob's ladder, it's up and down, infinite. Just saying.
Yes.
So I just wanted to do a little shout out here to I Am Graham. Just a little note here. I'm going to share this with you, and these are the very things that keep me going. Because I'll be honest, this place, this is why I fight as hard as I do. Oh, nice big spider. How are you doing, buddy? You're pretty cool. Anyway, this is a beautiful note. These are the things that make my tick talk and talk tick. Kate, I love you. And I love you. Of course I do. You're me. Besides that, I love you anyway. I've been playing your music to my family all week. 15 good souls. They're shocked how great it is. Thank you. That's yours. Loved your soul tonight. Bloody hell, where did you come from? Can't tell you ever. Well, I came from you. Source. I just chose to be you. Source. It's the only difference. Nothing makes me special. Nothing.
But you sing beautiful, and it's a very nice song. I don't remember which one, but I started to cry. It's so beautiful because you obviously put your soul into it, and
all of it. Yeah, every bit of me is in every song. That was. I couldn't do it any other way. It didn't make sense to me. It's like, and I've told people. We're going to run out of clock here, but I've told people, if you want to know me, just listen to my songs. And they become you. Cool. Talk about a virus. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to say much love to you.
Video provided by verdictproductions.com.